Hey people, I just want to show you one more cool thing. Inside SketchUp, when you're running Thea as a rendering tool, you can add um, what's called an HDRI, a high dynamic range image that is spherical, that's 360, that will surround your model and give you sky, landscape, kind of horizon around the whole thing. So as you move, that will move with you. I just want to show you how you go about doing that. It's kind of cool, and it's free. Don't you love that part? I love that free part. We're going to SketchUp, and here we are. So there's our model of our store. It's in a hillside. There's the drape that we just did with the sidewalk and the parking lot and the driveway. You can make that as complicated as you want, as I said. But what I'd like to be able to do is, like right now, you kind of look at it in SketchUp and go, well, yeah, but there's the SketchUp sky, that fake background that looks like nothing. So where I am, I've got Thea running. You know how to install this. You know that if you click that button, that it will give you all these other toolbars. This one, which will turn on Thea and make it run. And also then this one with the environment settings in here. That's where I am. I'm in the environment settings. There's your camera, there's your materials, there's your lighting. You can do all kinds of cool stuff in here. But what I'm hoping you can also see is that we've got the environment settings, and that's where I want to control this. So I don't want to use this basic boring background. By the way, you'll notice that as I move around with Thea turned on, it redraws that with ray tracing turned on, which is pretty great. It gives you a really nice version of what's going on. And you all know that because I have this button clicked, it's rendering it in the SketchUp window and not making me a separate render. If I clicked that button right there and turned it off, it would open a separate window. Another thing that it's doing is showing me SketchUp with edges. I'd rather see SketchUp View, no edges. You see how clean that is. Now, you can decide which one you like. The other thing I should mention is that, as you know, in SketchUp, you can turn on shadows right there. View, shadows. The trick is that, look what happened right there. Basically, what SketchUp is doing is saying, you got this weird textural background floating around. I'm going to shut this off for a second and show you what I'm talking about. You got this 3D surface, but I don't know how to put a shadow on that 3D surface. So I'm just going to put the shadow right here, treat it like an object. It ends up floating a little shadow right behind your model on the old floor, on the old surface. You don't want that anymore. So when you're running Thea for your render, go to View, turn off shadows, and you won't have any lighting in here. But when you turn on Thea, doink, then all of a sudden it's going to say, oh, not only am I going to turn on the lighting and the shadows and the sun and the skylight, I'm also going to be able to put that shadow onto that groovy surface that you made and make it look like $1,000,000. So that works much better in terms of using the shadows from Thea. The thing I wanted to show you though is this. So I go back here to illumination. If this isn't opened up, you can open it up. I've got the sun turned on. I've got the skylight turned on so we can see what the heck we're doing. But I've also got the option to turn on image-based lighting right here. And if I click the illumination button, it says, oh, you want to use an existing, or sorry, you have to go get an HDRI image that you can use. Doesn't look too great right now, but you can position yourself so you can see how cool this looks with the sky in the background. I downloaded this particular one. It's a snowy landscape, but you can see how it works. So what I'm doing is looking at this bitmap right here. You have to go and get something. So right now I've got this particular image in here. I'm going to click on this little folder, and it says, oh, you want to go get a different HDRI image? That's okay, we can do that. I will post some HDRI images. I may have already done so in week 9, week 11, maybe I didn't. I will go post them in here. So, but let's just search for HDRI, high dynamic range images. Oh man, one of these days I'm going to learn how to type and I'm going to be dangerous. So there's a bunch. I've downloaded a bunch of these things over the course of the years. And so there's a view. Look at that. I want that for my background. Open that up. It says, boink, I'm going to put that image in the background and make that the operative image. It's not too hot up close, but from a distance and in the background, you can see how great that looks in the background. So you can do some pretty fun things in here in terms of getting a background for your image that doesn't look quite so flat and SketchUp-y. So hopefully that's kind of fun for you. I will look forward to seeing what groovy things you do with SketchUp and Thea and HDRI. Love that talk. See ya.